1 year ago, on a Saturday, just like today, I started exactly where I am starting now, behind the curtains. That morning, I woke up convinced I was about to give I woke up convinced that that day was going to be the best day of my life because I was about to give my first ever TEDx talk. 3 months of preparation, countless rehearsals. That talk was mine. I knew it. I owned it. My name was called on and the applause thundered. I took that first step onto stage and everything was perfect. Every light, every word, every heartbeat was exactly how I had imagined it. Yes, imagine it. Because that first step was the only thing that I had truly done before my brain decided to destroy me. Not slowly, not gently, but all at once with a single crushing whisper. Who told you you belonged up there? The crowd was clapping, and it took me 3 months to prepare for that talk, but only 3 seconds to walk away. But of course, it didn't end there. I did return to the stage. I did return to that red dot. I gave the talk, and it was great. But the best day of my life had just become the most confusing because everything was in place. The preparation, the moment, the crowd, and yet the only thing that had betrayed me was myself. Or was it? Now, what if I told you that the thing holding us back isn't failure, it's success? And that fear, that gnawing feeling that your success isn't real, it has a name. Impostor syndrome. It's that relentless voice that says, you're not good enough, you're not smart enough. Sounds familiar? Awards, perfect scores, dream internships, and yet we shrink, feeling undeserving instead of proud. We're the honor roll students apologizing for a B, the club presidents calling it luck, and the artists dismissing their gallery work as just a draft. And here's the dangerous part. The world doesn't see it because we're still showing up, smiling and succeeding, but inside, we're still shrinking, doubting, pretending. Now here's a version of this talk that you've probably heard of before. Imposter syndrome is a lie. You belong. Believe in yourself. And while I don't necessarily disagree with that, I do believe it's a type of advice that works up until the moment that it's actually needed and then just evaporates. Because in reality, or at least in the way that I see it, imposter syndrome is not one thing. Rather, it's 2 things wearing the same coat. The first is a calibrated doubt. It's the honest awareness that the room that you're in is much bigger than your preparation, and that you still have a lot to learn. This isn't a weakness. It is what makes you good at the thing that you're about to do. The second, on the other hand, is the paralyzing doubt. It's the moment that that honest awareness hardens into a verdict. You don't belong here. Not a feedback, not a question, but a single statement that turns a stage curtain into a wall. And the real enemy was never the doubt. It was the verdict, because the doubt can help you prepare. The doubt can help you learn. The doubt can help you grow. The verdict, on the other hand, does none of these things. It simply convinces you that you're not good enough. And that gap between hearing the verdict and deciding what to do with it can be very hard to determine. Of course, it isn't just stress, it's systemic. A research done by the University of Umeå in Sweden has collected data from almost 1,000 students, 64% of whom have scored above the threshold for imposter syndrome. So if you've ever felt broken, you're not. You're normal and you're not alone. Now, if you don't believe me, consider the rooms you've been in, the boardrooms, the classrooms, even this very room. Roughly 6 out of every 10 students have felt like they don't belong, as though they're an imposter. So, I get to my question. How many of you have seen someone pause, conceive the perfect thing to say, and then say nothing at all? How many times have you done that very thing? Because with imposter syndrome, it doesn't care whether you're the CEO or the intern, because it attacks each and every one of us equally. And it preys on those who already carry the weight of being different in the room, whether by age, background, or identity. Because we'll never know what innovations were never launched, what art was never created, or what conflicts were left unresolved because someone had stood at that edge of doubt, believed the verdict, and walked away. So, with all this talk, you're probably wondering, Valeria, what are you getting at? What do we need to do? So, imposter syndrome, I'm not going to tell you to just sit here and listen to me say, stop feeling like a fraud, because you and I both know that's more of a wish than it is a strategy. Because imposter syndrome, it thrives in silence. So when we speak up, we take away its power individually. Therefore, it's time to get loud. Lead with vulnerability. Harvard research shows that when teachers admit, I struggled too, students' learning improves by 25%. And when you say, I'm not sure, but here's what I think, you're allowing for every other person in that room who is thinking the same to speak up. The verdict thrives in private. Lead out loud, and it loses its grip. Own your evidence. The verdict is not evidence, so cross-examine it, ask it questions. What brought me here? Why am I in this room? The invitation is evidence. The verdict is not. Because confidence, it doesn't grow in triumphs. It grows in the daily accumulation that you showed up and kept showing up, and the walls didn't fall. Unite through me too. The most powerful words in any room of high achievers aren't I've got this. They're me too. Because imposter syndrome is a shared experience disguised as a personal failure. So when we name it together, we take away its power individually. You were never alone at that curtain, and you never will be. Do it before you're ready. Readiness is a myth in rooms that matter. Nobody who has ever changed anything was ready. So when you cross that curtain, don't cross it once but twice, because it will reappear in bigger rooms with higher stakes and louder verdicts. But the practice is crossing anyway, again and again, until the gap between the verdict and the step gets shorter every single time. Because the confidence, it comes after the step, not before it. So, when doubt says you're not ready, you say, watch me learn. When fear says you will fail, you say, watch me try. And when tradition says, wait your turn, you say, watch me lead. So, I ran off of that stage once, but I did return. I returned not because the doubt had disappeared. It hadn't. Not because I suddenly felt worthy. I didn't, not fully. I returned to that stage because those 6 minutes belonged to the audience more than the fear had belonged to me. So now somewhere, someone is standing at a curtain of their own. A stage, a table, an empty chair at a negotiation that will outlast all of us. Their verdict has come. So the next time you hear that little voice tell you, you don't belong here, don't fight it. Shake its hand and get loud. Because the rooms that need you aren't waiting for your confidence. They're waiting for you. We are not here by accident. We are not our doubts. We are our determination. And we're not the generation that doubts itself in silence. We're the generation that proves the greatest success begins with 4 words. Watch me get loud. Thank you.